Hello, everybody. It's me, Albatross. I'm here to talk about the Palestinian children, the issues going on in Palestine. This has been a topic I've been wanting to talk about for a while, but I didn't know if I would or not because it's one of those topics, not about the children, but the Israel Palestine conflict, that whole thing that's been unfolding the last year and a half now, almost 2 years. October 2023 specifically. And that was awful. That was such a I remember when it happened. It was horrible. They dropped down there. You all remember what happened. They dropped down there in parachutes and just started killing, just slaughtering, and it didn't matter who, what, where. They were just killing everybody, everyone they could get their hands on. They were killing. It didn't matter at that point. It seemed like if they were Israeli or who they were. It was a big event that was going on. Everybody was talking about it. It was so horrific. Maybe because it was caught on camera. I don't know. But it was so horrific. In the rest of the world, everyone who wasn't probably like Gaza or Israel was left like, oh my effing God, where did this come from? It was such a total shock to us. And that's by design. I mean, it obviously wasn't that shocking to Israel or Gaza, apparently. This had been brewing for quite a long time, right? This had been brewing for quite a long time. And unless you, were directly looking into it, you didn't really know anything about it. Because typically, the United States government, historically, and always has, taken, a very pro-Israel stance. Most politicians have. And I think I want to help everyone break this down because it's epiphany that came to me. And I think it will help everybody make sense as to why this situation is so polarized as it is. And listen, I'm not trying to take anything away from anybody. Because listen, and I mean this with all sincerity of my heart. I love the Israeli people. I love the Palestinian people. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. So the things I'm about to say, anyone out there, please, I am not talking about Israelis or Palestinians. I am talking about a system. I am talking about a system that was put in place for them. The same people who put that system in place put other systems in place all over the world, right? I don't have the time in this video to break this whole system down because it is so deep and complex. But the point of this video is just kind of to prove to you that it does exist, okay? And I'm sure this video I'm going to lose tons of subscribers and followers, and that's fine. You guys got to follow what you think is right in your heart. No hard feelings. But I gotta say this, guys. I've got to say this. Because it really needs to be said. If you look in the Old Testament, right? You can see there was an evil entity sowing these seeds of discord all the way back then. All the way back then. Why would an evil entity do this to these people in the Middle East? The Israelis, the Palestinians, I could go on and on. All of them. The Arabians, the Jordanians, all of them. You all notice that it's they're always at war. Or not all of them at the same time, obviously, but at different parts in the Middle East. There's always a conflict, right? Always a feud. I mean, and I guess you could say that about everywhere else, but as you can see, when it pertains to the Middle East, it's they seem a lot more intense. And, like, granted, I've never been to the Middle East, so someone please correct me if I'm wrong, whoever's been there. I'm just saying, just, like, not even just from, like, the news and stuff, but, like, from the images and, like, the videos that you see of, like, it's, like, so tense, in fact, that this kind of tension, it doesn't just happen overnight. It doesn't happen overnight. It accumulates over long, 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 long periods of time. And, like, we literally got the code right there in the Bible. Like, the same God of Israel, the same one, was the same one whenever he had to leave Israel for a few days for sabbatical, whatever he said he was going to do, go convene with his heavenly host. He would go to these other places in the Middle East at the time, because at the time this is where most civilization was. This is where civilization began. Okay? He would go to all these other little spots, right? And he would tell them that they were the special race, that they, had to destroy the other peoples around them. And not just that, they had to destroy their monuments, their buildings, their whole culture. Like, that's literally what God is telling, like, Israel to do in the Bible. But what I'm saying and throwing out there is I believe he was telling everyone else that too. Now, and it's the same deep state in operation today. How do I know? Because it's the same deep state that sends people out there to, like, the oldest city on earth out there in Iraq, in Eridu, to destroy our history, any records of it. The same deep state that told Moses and the Israelites to destroy the Canaanites and all their statues and all their inscriptions, and like this, the same one. And then the same thing happened to Israel. You notice they didn't escape it, because turns out it was all a lie. I mean, yes, they're special, but they weren't, like, more special than their relatives, because they were all related years and years ago. You see what I'm saying? And it's, like, always the same thing that he tells them to do. Like, destroy everything. Leave no one alive. In fact, the Israelites, because they left them alive, Yahweh punished them for it. He punished them for it. So then, like, I mean, anytime you have anyone, and I don't care if it's God, an extraterrestrial, or anyone, anytime you have anyone telling a group of people that they are better than the other group of people, the ones they happen to be related to, and that their relatives would eventually be their slaves, what do you think is going to happen? And you just drill it in their head. Every generation, over and over and over again. And listen, if you don't believe me about what it actually says, I'm going to give you the exact scripture if you want to go and look for yourself. Numbers 31. Got that? Numbers chapter 31, verses 17 to 18. I'll read those two real quick. This was Moses' instructions and Yahweh's instructions when they were taking revenge on the Midianites. Keep in mind, Moses' wife and children were Midianites. Now kill all the boys. Kill every woman who has slept with a man. But save for yourselves every girl who has never slept with a man. Oh, and that wasn't over. That wasn't it either. Same chapter, Numbers 31. But this time, read verses 32 to 40. You will see that of all the spoils after their slaughter, and all those virgin girls that they took, who must have been very young, which was 16,000 of them, The Israelites got to split them up between themselves, the men. But Yahweh got 32 of them. Why does the all-loving Yahweh need 32 virgin girls? Think about that. Think about that. This is the deep state being written out. This was the deep state back then. And what's going on right now is the deep state now. The same evil. Because at the end of the day, he doesn't care about either side. He never did. It was never about that. He wanted them, once, I'm assuming, either Israel killed off the rest of them or they killed off Israel, he would have gotten others to do the rest for him. I mean, don't think for a moment that wasn't his plan. He's been trying to get rid of all of them from that day. From that day. Why would he get his own hands dirty and get in trouble with his own superiors when he could influence and manipulate you all to do it yourselves? You all, who do I mean? I mean all of us. But specifically, the people in the Middle of the East, because they are special, and he knows it. You know why? Because what I read in that Bible, in that evil Old Testament that the Israelites follow, is that he was scared to death of them. Of the Israelites, of the Canaanites, of all of them. He was scared of them. That's what I got out of it. What do you think people do when they're scared of a group of people like that? They try to rule over them and control them. Because he was scared. The same entity that offered you all, okay, and I'm speaking to the beautiful Palestinians and Israelites, if any of you all hear this. But the same entity that came in your darkest hour and offered you some sort of salvation and radicalized you, he was the same one who made the circumstances you're in the way it is. He was grooming you for this moment, for now. Your ancestors. Think about the things he did to your ancestors. Horrible things. Starved them. Made them go without what you're doing to the Palestinians. He did to you guys. Made you go without food. Made you go without water. Beat you. Killed your children. Ate your children. Raped your children. Made you so scared to utter a word of defiance that out of that frozen fear, you got your children to do the same thing for fear of their lives. And there's nothing wrong with that. You were trying to protect them. But listen, times are different now. You don't have to be afraid of this thing anymore. Stop fighting each other. Try to remember back in the day when you all worked hand in hand to build a tower somewhere, wherever it was, before Yahweh came into the picture, when you all were one big family tribe, before you got separated into all those different, to what it is now. You were building something. You were building a beautiful civilization. A big, giant city. And you didn't need nobody's help. You all did that. Your ancestors did that. They didn't need no one's help. They just relied on each other. And it says it. Yahweh saw that. He told his companions, if they actually accomplish this, that there's nothing they won't be able to do. We cannot let them accomplish this. And that's when it all began. That's when it all began. I mean, just think about that for a moment. I mean, really, think about that. Genesis 11. I'm going to begin at verse 3. They said to each other, "Come, let's make bricks and bake them thoroughly." They used brick instead of stone and tar for mortar. Then they said, "Come, let us build ourselves a city with a tower that reaches to the heavens, so that we may make a name for ourselves, otherwise we will be scattered over the face of the whole earth. Pause. It tells you right there, your ancestors knew that Yahweh wanted to do that. I don't know how they knew, but if you believe the Bible, that's what it says. I'll continue with verse 5. But the Lord came down to see the city and the tower the people were building. The Lord said, if as one people speaking the same language they have begun to do this, then nothing they plan to do will be impossible for them. It literally says that. I didn't just make that up. It says that. It says that. Genesis 11, verses 5 to 6. He didn't want them to accomplish anything short of tents in the desert and struggling. Because he was afraid. He was afraid of you guys. Because you were strong when you were united. There was nothing you guys couldn't do when you guys united together. And he radicalized you and brainwashed you so bad. You got to forgive yourself. You got to forgive your ancestors. You got to forget and let it go. And recognize it wasn't your fault. Like Hamas, the Israeli government. It wasn't your, stop playing these games and hurting your own people. Both of you. But especially Israel. Stop. Stop it. You have become Yahweh's monster. Not the people, not the Israeli people. I'm not talking to you. Most of you probably, have no parts in any of this. I know. It's just sad. It's just sad to me because think of how different our world could have been. How much better our world might have been if it was different. And obviously you all didn't need any help to do that. I mean, it's insane to think about. It really is. All that time ago. Just by being together and tolerating each other and loving each other regardless of your differences. And especially now that the children, the most single, the most important living organisms on our planet, of any kind of organism, are our children. Without them, there's no future for anything. Now, I know, like I said, October was pretty bad. But tell me, Netanyahu, were there these little tiny children coming down on those parachutes? What did they do to anybody? What did they do to anybody? And I'm not trying to be polarizing. I'm not trying to pick a side in this, because I think Hamas and the Israeli government are both equally horrible. But all I got to say is, out of all these pictures, I don't see that many armed people of the Palestinians. What's with all this death? It doesn't really even look like they're fighting back. They're like doing things like collecting food. They're starving. And they're not even getting water. And I doubt they have a way to turn the seawater to drinking water. I could be wrong, but last I checked, I think that requires certain things. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But, like, what the, like, it just, and it, like, okay, and listen, what I'm saying next really has nothing to do with, Israel or Palestine at all. What is wrong with our world where we would ever be okay with any of this? Like, on either side. Because they killed children at that festival too. So, I mean, here's my whole thing. I think they both are right under the deep state. I'm not talking about the citizens once again. I am talking about the Israeli government. I don't even know if Palestine has a government, but definitely Hamas. And if Palestine does have a government, them too, I'm sure. So, like, why is anybody even, like, pointing insults at anybody on this side of the ocean, really, for voicing any of this? Like, when, like, the blame is obvious. It is the Israeli government and Hamas. Like, I mean, is that not obvious to anybody else but me? That they're both the problem? I don't know. Look, listen, and like I said, I'm not going to get into the politics of anything because I don't care. I'm talking about, like, the kids. Like, why doesn't anyone else want to talk about that? I don't know. You know, it's draining coming on here, guys. Talking about all this. And it does. Like, I'm trying to be optimistic. But what do you say to someone when they're just obviously just don't care? Or, like, when you mention the word children, it's like it just goes right over their head. It's like they don't see that as significant. Quite frankly, I don't know how, like, that should be, like, the main headline everywhere. And it never is. They are always forgotten. The kids are always forgotten everywhere. And it's exhausting. I'm sorry. Like, I don't know. I'm sorry. I just don't know what to say for humanity anymore. When it's like you can't even, like, agree that the children, no matter which country they're in, should be priority. Like, you can't even get people to agree on that. That's wild to me. I just don't get it. Anybody else got any answers? I'd like to know. Seriously, I would. What is it that I don't get? If that's a rhetorical question, you don't have to answer it. No, I know I'm not crazy, so I just don't know what else to say about it. Like, I truly don't know what to say. If other people don't see who the true villains are in this whole situation, it's I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. But that's all I really had for today. But I will say that I'm gonna cut back again to just doing, like, one upload a week, maybe two if there's some good news, because I mean, of course, I'm going to come back if there's, like, news about, especially about the missing kids, obviously, but, like, for the time being, for the sake of my own sanity, I can't do this every day. It would be one thing if I actually thought it was making some kind of little bit of a difference, but I must be on some kind of, like, crap list with YouTube or something because, you know, I don't know. I don't think most of my followers even, you know, get that little light letting them know that I posted. Seriously, I don't. Yeah, YouTube, you could do better. You really could. But anyways, you know, I don't know. Let me know what you all think. Talk to you later.